Hello friends, and welcome back to our little coffee club. Today we're going to be taking a look at this little dripper from the Magnolia collection at Target. I want to answer two basic questions. People might find this at Target, they might want to pick it up, and they might ask themselves two questions. Does it really work? And how do you use it? Let's go to the other counter and I'm going to try to answer both of those questions for you. Okay, here we go. Let's talk about this little dripper. So let me answer the two basic questions. Does it work? Yeah, it does work. Now, as far as how to use it, okay, so, I'm looking at this from a regular kind of consumer point of view, okay, somebody that's not a coffee hobbyist. Because if you are a coffee hobbyist, should you get this? I gotta say there's a lot better options than this one out there, but there's nothing particularly wrong with this. It's kind of like a V60, let's say, but it's gonna be slower than a V60. Okay, so first of all, this is real glass, so you're gonna have to be, somewhat careful with it because it's delicate. The stand, everything's, looks fairly well made and it looks nice. As far as cleaning this, you can actually put it in the dishwasher. Although I don't see why you would do that. You could just wipe it down and dry it and it's good to go for the next time. It is a cone dripper, just like a V60. But the thing is that the little hole at the bottom is very tiny. So a V60, the hole is much bigger, so it'll be a lot faster drawdown. And for those of us that are coffee hobbyists, well, then you know the pluses and minuses that come along with that. So keep in mind, this is not going to be the fastest brewer out there. I would put it somewhere along the lines of the Steadfast. So if you guys have been watching all the videos, you know what I think about the Steadfast. I love using it, and I love the consistency. Now, I gotta tell you, I have, somewhat limited experience with this dripper, and the way I've been using it, let me tell you when is my go-to, okay? When is it that I have been using this dripper and the reason why? So first of all, let me show you the filters you should get for it. Just get your regular Hario V60 filters, cone filters for this dripper. This is what fits in it. So you have your basic cone filter. You can pick up these filters at Amazon or, probably even at the supermarket. You could probably find them everywhere. So basically, the way you use it is you make a fold here on the filter. That's the first thing you do, is make the fold, put it inside, and then you might want to rinse it. Some people say they can taste like a papery flavor, and in some filters, maybe you could do that. As far as with this filter, I haven't tasted kind of like papery taste. There's kind of like a scent, but once you brew coffee with it, can you really taste a difference? I can't. But there are some people that say that they could, and there is no harm in rinsing it. And by rinsing it, you get it to stick to the walls of the brewer, and that's mainly the reason why I rinse it. And I want to warm up everything. Also, it's good practice when you're gonna brew coffee to kind of get the vessel you're brewing with, to get it to warm up. And the cup you're gonna use, you might want to get it to warm up as well. Now, this little filter has become my go-to. If you guys saw on the ad from Target, it says it's 13 ounces. It's kind of like a small brewer. You cannot put big volume of water in there. This is well suited for making coffee just for you, for personal use, for one person, and then you throw out the filter and you can brew again for someone else if you like, but just like one cup at a time. So this has become my go-to when I'm brewing very little coffee, less than a cup. I'm doing, let's say, because usually you guys know I use my carafe. This is a fellow double wall carafe for brewing into. And you can brew a whole bunch of coffee in here. So the brewer will go on top of this and I brew right into this. But when I use this little brewer, is to make half the amount of coffee that I normally make. So when I brew into the carafe, I make enough coffee to fill this cup halfway twice, okay? And that's basically how much coffee I drink every morning. To go halfway, it's 150 grams. And the reason I've been going to this little brewer is because sometimes I end up with enough beans to grind a certain amount, but it's not enough to make my normal 300 gram brew. It's not enough to grind 20 grams of coffee. So maybe I have 8 grams left, maybe I have 10 grams left, 12 grams left. And that's when I go to this little brewer. Because for making to put a small amount of ground coffee into it, I think it works really, really well for that particular reason. So when you want to make very little coffee, I think it's perfect. This brewer was gifted to me by my wife. She bought it because it's cute. Basically, that's how she makes her coffee decisions. She's not she's not into coffee like me. So she buys things when she finds them pretty. And so she gifted this to me, and I'm really thankful to her. Thank you. Thank you. I have enjoyed it. I have gone to it whenever I'm making a very small batch. If I make if I'm gonna grind only like 8 grams, 10 grams, 12 grams, something like that, I will go to this little brewer. I really enjoy using it in that sense. Again, be expecting it to not be too fast, so grind accordingly. I have another thing is, in the eyes of like a regular kind of consumer, you might not even be grinding coffee, you might just have ground coffee. So in that case, the way you would use it, just for your average consumer, you're probably gonna brew right into your coffee cup or whatever it is that you drink from. So add a scoop of coffee into the brewer. Boil some water on a kettle. If you have an electric kettle, that's better. If you have one that you can control the temperature, that's even better, because then you can start playing around with temperature. It is fun to brew coffees at different temperatures depending on the roast level. As a matter of fact, if you want to get the best flavor, then it becomes ideal to be able to control the temperature. But your regular consumer, you might just want to boil some water in a regular kettle, okay? Put a scoop of coffee into it, and then just pour your hot water nice and slow over it and brew your coffee. Now, the ratio, the amount of water you're getting out for the amount of ground coffee you put into the brewer, it might not be ideal. So if you taste it, okay, and you see that it's kind of weak and not a lot of flavor, well, the next day when you brew again, add a little bit more grounds for the same amount of water. Okay. Now, if you taste it and it's too strong, then the opposite. Add less ground coffee for the same amount of water, and it'll dilute it a little more, and it'll be a little bit weaker if that's what you're looking for. So that's basically all you're gonna do if you're just your average consumer. Add your ground coffee, add the amount of water you would like to drink right into the cup you're gonna be drinking from, and then taste it. And then adjust by adding more ground coffee or less ground coffee for the same amount of water for the next time you brew, and then you adjust that way. But for most of the people that watch my channel, which you guys are coffee hobbyists like myself, I'm not an expert, but I am a hobbyist. We grind our own coffee. So today I'm using the Easy Presso K Plus model that I always use for pour overs. I have it set at 8, that's 80 clicks. You see the little red dot? And that is kind of like a, kind of coarse grind for me. Usually I start like at 7. So at 80 clicks, I'm a little bit coarse, but not too much. And I think it'll be ideal for what I'm gonna do here. I'm gonna grind 10 grams of coffee and brew 150 grams out. So the ratio there is a 1:15, okay? A 1:15 ratio is very common for this type of brewing style. And if you're gonna be measuring out your ratios and you're gonna be weighing your beans and all of that kind of stuff, then you're gonna need a scale. The one I like to use for doing pour overs is this one here. This is called the Time More Black Mirror Basic Plus. Okay, so the Time More Black Mirror Basic Plus. This scale runs for, well, when I bought it, it was like $40. Now I don't know, inflation is happening. maybe it's a little bit more now. But I doubt it is more than $50, and it's a great scale. Okay, this is water resistant. You can splash water on it and stuff, won't do anything to it. The battery is rechargeable and it lasts forever. You're gonna have to charge it maybe once a month, and it'll time the drawdown for you, so you can time how long the coffee is taking to brew. That's another parameter that we like to control as coffee hobbyists. You might not want to pay attention to anything like that. But if you at least want to get your ratio, you can get a $10 scale from Amazon and just, weigh the yield, what you're getting out. And then you can play with ratios, okay? So again, if you can control the temperature, if you can control the grind size by grinding the coffee coarser or finer, and then you can control the yield and you can control the timing, well, these are all the variables that we use to dial in coffee. So dialing in coffee is just basically trying to get the coffee to the best it could give you. What you're looking for out of that coffee, try to get it as close as possible. That's basically all that dialing in means. So you play with the different, you adjust the different parameters. Okay, you might want to adjust your brew time, you might want to adjust your grind size, you might want to adjust your water temperature, and all of these things, your ratio, all of these things you adjust to get the flavor that you're looking for. Okay, but again, for your average consumer, just put a couple of scoops of grounds in there, some boiling water, brewing to your cup, taste it. If it's too weak, add more grounds next time. If it's too strong, add less grounds next time, and just keep your amount of water, the liquid that's in your cup, keep that the same always, so that then all you have to adjust is how much coffee you're putting in the brewer. That's it. So yeah, that's basically how you use it. I find it to be, it's becoming kind of like my go-to when I'm doing very little coffee. The reason why sometimes I do very little coffee, because I always do the same amount. I grind 20 grams and I get 300 grams out. That's my go-to, that's what I do every morning. But sometimes that's all the coffee you have left for that particular coffee. So unless you want to mix beans, get beans from one place and beans from another place and grind it all up and make your coffee, you could do that as well. But if you want to get the best flavor out of that particular coffee you're brewing, then you might want to just brew less coffee. So let's say I have 10 grams, which is what I'm going to do right now. That's half of what I would normally do. So I'm going to look for a yield of 150 grams, which is half, okay? And you could do, let's say you have 8 grams, 7 grams, 13 grams, whatever. Just do that times the ratio you like. For me, it's a 1 to 15. So if I have, let's say, 8 grams, I do that times 15, and whatever that number is, that's how many grams of water I need to get out. And that's basically how it works. That's it. All right, now, if that's all you wanted to get, the basic information on this brewer, and if it works and how to use it, that's basically it. But now on this channel, what we do is hang out, we chit chat, we talk about coffee things, we brew some coffee, and just hang out. So if you want to hang out with us here for the rest of whatever this becomes, then you're welcome to. We love to have you here. Please give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and let's make some coffee. Okay, now here we go. Now for your average consumer, I'm gonna give you a coffee suggestion, okay? I'm gonna suggest you try this Dunkin' Donuts original blend, okay? Now, when you make it at home, you can dial it in even better than when you order it at Dunkin' Donuts. At Dunkin' Donuts it's not so bad, but at home it becomes like, really good, okay? This is a coffee you can find anywhere, and for me, as far as like regular, store-bought coffee, something you could find basically anywhere, this is my go-to. This is what I really like, as far as regular store-bought coffee. As a matter of fact, if you look through my videos here on the channel, you will see that I've done 2 videos that have to do just on this subject, where I compared different coffees from different manufacturers, and I found this one to be my favorite, at least my favorite. I also talked a whole bunch about James Hoffman, who is a coffee expert, and he reviewed the same coffees that I reviewed, and he placed this one like in 3rd place. I believe it was his 3rd favorite. I had all the ones that he had chosen as his top 4, and for me this still was my favorite. So I did try the other 2 that beat this one out, and to me they were not as good. To me this one was the best. So again, flavor, something very particular, is gonna be what you like, right? So this one I liked more because it had higher acidity, and it was more consistent to brew a good cup. You guys can see those 2 videos. They're up on the channel. Look through my coffee videos and you'll see. The coffee videos playlist always pops up at the end of every video, so you can click on that and search through that, and you'll find the ones when I'm talking about the Dunkin' Donuts coffee. So I brewed this many times on the channel, and I'm very familiar with it. So, all right, usually I brew this at 97 as far as water temperature. It's somewhere around 97, 96. So we're gonna do that today. I'm gonna grind at 8 again. So let's dose out. I'm just gonna make 10 grams. Because that's when I use this little brewer, again, when I have very little beans left. Wow, I have a lot of things in the way here today, and you know, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I'm again experimenting with camera setups and microphones and stuff. So I don't know if you guys have noticed any differences, but yeah, there's a lot going on today. I usually show you when let me see. Let me see how I do this. Give me a second. Okay, let me move this back. Move this forward. Hopefully everything's focusing correctly and you guys could see. I don't know. This is first time I try this and it could be all wrong. Oh yeah, and I remember last time I tried this, which I don't know why I never thought of that, but just kind of like show you guys what I'm doing. It's a lot better. I have to look at it kind of sideways, but you guys get the best show that way. So, all right, so there it is. Let's dose out 10 grams. Okay, we tear the scale. Man, I am completely out of my comfort zone here today. Everything's like, I gotta get used to the new setup. Maybe we'll talk about it in another video. Man, I'm crazy. I'm always, I'm always changing things up. Just when I thought I had everything the way I want. You know, we got to talk about that. We have to talk about that. Maybe in the next video, we'll just hang out and just talk about what's been going on because, yeah, there's been a couple things happening. All right, so we got between 10 and 10.1 grams. So we're going to roll with that. Again, my Dunkin' Donuts coffee, man, is back. I hadn't had this in a while. I bought the bag the other day because I didn't have anything light to drink. And this is light enough to give you acidity and just, you guys know how I like this, so. All right, you know what? I have to put it into one of my little fellow Atmos because I have one available. I don't know why I didn't do that yet, but I will. Okay, put that off to the side. And, okay, 10 grams. Again, 10 grams at 80 clicks. This is gonna go quick. If you're watching this video and you're a regular consumer and you don't know everything that's going on here, there's plenty of videos where I talk about all this stuff. Leave me a comment below. I answer absolutely everyone. And if you want to know more about coffee, you need any kind of like specific information as to something you've seen here, leave me a comment. I'll answer you for sure. All right, here we go. All right, so that's how you do a hand grinder. You spin it just to make sure there's nothing left in there. Everything went through, everything did. And then usually I like to check to see if the same 10 grams I put in is the same 10 grams that came out. Sometimes there's something called retention, where a little bit of coffee just gets stuck in the burrs or whatever, the little nooks and crannies. So as a matter of fact, we had 10.1. So no, same thing we put in, same thing we got out. And usually on a hand grinder, they're very accurate. Whatever you put in is whatever comes out. You know, electric grinders, they have a little bit more retention. Okay, now here's another thing about this. So, okay, we have our ground coffee. How I'm gonna set this up. Okay, so, okay, I gotta move this a little bit towards me. So I have two cameras running right now. There's two different angles here, okay? I have my trusty phone, which I'm noticing I forgot to, I could have clipped the microphone for my phone on my shirt, and I didn't because I'm recording with another camera and I have a wired, a wired microphone. You can see it here. I'm gonna buy a cordless, but I don't have it just yet. The one for the phone doesn't work on the, it doesn't work on the camera that I'm using to get the other angle. I'm gonna explain why and all of that because some interesting things have happened, like I said. But here's the thing, you're gonna have to weigh the brewer. You're gonna have to weigh the brewer, the cup, you're gonna have to weigh everything, okay? Because if not, you could do it another way, okay? You could put the scale, let me show you. All right, You know, a couple times I've been like using this and I've been so like not used to it or whatever. I don't know what I was thinking. I actually like put some water in here without having anything below because I always rinse with the carafe, you know, always with the carafe. So, but you know, I haven't had the cup just yet on there, and I started rinsing and the water just made a mess. I don't know what I was thinking. Okay, but another setup you could do is put it like this and then put your cup up here. You could do that. If you do that, you're not weighing the water as you're pouring it in here. So then what's gonna happen is you're gonna reach 150 grams in your cup. It's gonna say 150, that means you got 150 in the cup. But there's still gonna be water in here coming out. So then that means you have to remove your cup and put something else in there to catch the rest of the water. You're gonna make a mess. So I don't do it that way. I don't know if all of that made sense. For those of you that are coffee hobbyists, I know that made sense. But if you just ran into this video as a regular consumer, yeah, you might have no idea what I'm talking about. I don't know. You can ask me. All right, so we're gonna weigh everything. Okay, like this. Now, I put a little picture of this brewer on Instagram recently, and people loved it. People loved it. And again, that my wife loved it. That's how it ended up here, right? She saw it at Target. She bought it for me. Thank you, Eileen. Her name's Eileen, by the way. All right, so we're gonna start by rinsing, so that way in the event there's any papery smell, it'll be, or taste, it'll be gone. But also, it'll help us to, you know, finally get the paper to stick to the walls of the brewer. So now what we do, we come in, we start adjusting our paper. Okay, so you might notice I had to rearrange things again. I was trying out the other camera for the first time. But I'm back on the phone, I'm back on my regular audio. We'll see how that other clip works out. There was a hiccup there at the end, so I had to stop the project. We'll talk about cameras and stuff another day. But yeah, all right, so everything's hot. Let me go ahead and get the water out of here. All right, so now we're just gonna hang out, make some coffee. Okay, start the scale again. Okay, so you can get, let me show you guys. You can get the paper to stick to the walls of this brewer very well. So it actually works very well. Again, you know, pretty much the same setup like a V60, but basically the little hole at the bottom is small, so it's gonna be slower. Let's get our 10 grams in there. Okay, now we give it a little shake to flatten it out. Okay, so if you notice on the little brewer, the coffee's up to here. It's about a third of the way up, so you can easily do double that easily. But going anything more than that, it becomes a little challenging. I don't think so. Usually I like grinding 20 grams, and it'll work just fine with this brewer. It'll give you 300 grams of coffee out. So, you know, for a single person, I think it's awesome. But especially for doing a small batch, just like this, you know, I can use my origami. The origami will work just fine. But now that I have this and, you know, I want to use it, it's cute, you know, so why not? It's a different brewer, and it is slower than a lot slower than the origami. So depending on some coffees, this might actually be better. So if it's a lighter roast, you know, this might be a better choice. Again, only for like a small amount. If not, I would just go to the Steadfast. So the Steadfast, I really love it. You know, if it's a light roast coffee, I want it to get a long brew time. I want to be able to get a nice slow drawdown, nice extraction. I will usually go to the Steadfast for that reason. But again, I would do like 20 grams. Doing 10 grams on the Steadfast, it gets spread out too much, and it's just no bueno. Okay, so use a cone type brewer. So the origami would do it. But you know, if it's a really light roast, this might actually work even better. All right, here we go. Let's start the time and let's start this process. So usually I do 100-gram pours, so now I'm gonna do 50-gram pours. I don't do the divot because it's just such a small amount of coffee that what's the point? Okay, so there we go, 52 grams, saturates everything perfectly. The first one is gonna go kind of quickly because the fines are not like, you know, all over the place, but now I'm gonna give it a little swirl and it's gonna slow down. Okay, so after about 30 seconds or so, we come in with our second pour. Go around the sides, wash everything down, then down the middle. Take it to 100 grams. I'm just short of 100. Now I'm gonna give it a little swirl. Just make sure everything's saturated well. Okay, and after about a minute or so, we go with our third pour. Sometimes it'll take more than a minute to draw down because after you shake it, your grounds, the fines in the coffee, they kind of start going everywhere. So, you know, let's give it another little swirl to flatten things out. Again, brewing coffee is fun. It should be fun. It should be enjoyable. You know, you use all your senses, right? You're looking at your setup. Everything looks nice and comforting. You see the steam coming up from the brewer and it's very relaxing. You know, it's just fun. Okay, so you know what? Depending on flavor, this is a coffee I might grind finer for this brewer. I went at 80 clicks, but it drew down pretty quickly. We're just over 2 minutes and it's done. Now I know it's very little volume, so if I would have done my 20 grams, maybe it would have taken 4 minutes, which is about kind of normal for me. So, all right, so at this point, it's completely done. So now what you want to do is take your brewer, put it with paper so that you don't make a mess. Now the brewer might be a little bit warm, so, or hot to some, so, you know, be careful. But you get your cup out and put something so that it could, you know, if it drips into that. Now I can get my scale out of the way. All right, and I'm basically done. That is the little Magnolia brewer from Target. Let's go to the other counter and give it a taste test. I'm super familiar with this coffee, so I know if I got it right or close or, you know, or perfect. I will know because I've had it so many times. So let's go to the other counter and talk about it. All right, so the question is, did I get it spot on? No, I didn't. Yeah, definitely I have to grind it finer, and I need a little bit more contact time with the hot water. It's not strong enough for what I like. It's not bad, but I know I can get more out of this coffee for sure. Again, this is the beauty about this hobby. It's something that you get to do every single day. So tomorrow I'll brew again. I'll grind it finer. You know, this coffee, for just being regular store-bought coffee, I gotta say, it's pretty good. It is pretty good. All right, I'm gonna enjoy the rest of that in a minute, but I don't want this video to get super long on me, and I'm gonna have clips from all kinds of different cameras. It's a new experiment, something I'm trying. Hopefully I can better some things. Maybe some things I'll go back to what I was doing before. Depends on what it looks like and what it sounds like. I'll make some adjustments. I can already tell you that I have a feeling as far as on the counter, I think I'm just better off going back to the phone, because with the phone, the only drawback with the phone is that I can't look at the screen because I have to use the rear camera and the screen is facing the other way. So obviously I can't see the screen. and that's a bummer. With the camera, I could see the screen, but well, you know, that's for we'll talk about it another time. We'll talk about cameras and the setup and stuff like that another time. Again, I don't want this to get super long on me, but man, I'm so glad that you guys are here with me. I loved hanging out once again and spending some time with you guys. So please give the video a like, you know, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And thank you for watching. I really appreciate you guys. Leave me a comment below. Again, if you're new to the channel, if you just ran into this video and you want to know something specific about the little Magnolia brewer, comment below. I'll answer you, and thank you for watching. See you guys next week.